Bill Clinton said, "Globalization is not something we can hold off or turn off. It is the economic equivalent of a force of nature, like wind or water." Globalization describes a process by which regional economies, societies, and cultures have become integrated through a globe-spanning network of communication and trade. It is a completely inevitable natural process brought by changes and their effects that slowly connects the world and makes it smaller. The world was once large, meaning everything was far from one another, with no easy communication or contact. But with a change comes an effect. As Thomas Friedman in The World is Flat explains, the world went from medium to small, from globalization 2.0 to globalization 3.0. The simple definition of globalization is the interweaving of markets, technology, information systems, and telecommunication systems in a way that is shrinking the world from a size medium to a size small, and enabling each of us to reach around the world farther, faster, deeper, and cheaper than ever before, and enabling the world to reach into each of us farther, faster, deeper, cheaper than ever before. The world was huge, no means of communication between towns unless one trekked through forests and deserts, no trade, no technological advances, and nothing to enable us to be quicker or cheaper. Now there is radical flattening of the world, with communication just a call away, constant trading of goods, and technology advances, like the computer, that are so great that they have changed the world. Communication with someone across the world has become a second away, bringing those far away close to us, and making the world globalized, tighter, and small. Industrialization gave countries a sense of pride and nationalism, including the Zionism with Jews. This came with the ideas of social Darwinism and imperialism, leading to the fighting of World War I, anxieties, World War II, the Holocaust, and the Cold War. These constant changes affected life by globalizing and flattening the world, making the world an integrated globe-spanning network and closer together, as well as making it leveled and equal. This made the world globalized, interconnected, and interdependent, and caused the world to go from medium to small size. Before the Industrial Revolution, the world was unleveled and unequal, though the economy and communication became prevalent with the new resources, transportation, and urbanization. Urbanization, as explained by MSN in Carta Online Encyclopedia, people moved into urban areas where factories were located, making towns and cities grow dramatically. This brought everyone together and closer. MSN in Carta Online Encyclopedia explains the Industrial Revolution as dramatically altering industries by developing mass production and lower prices. The economic and social advancements came with increased job opportunities that allowed lower classes to grow and become equal, and allowed the new resources, machines, and factories to speed up the production. For example, they now had coal, iron, steam, and textiles that were formed in factories with cheap labor. It strengthened the lower class by raising their status, nearly making them equal with others, though ultimately increased the gap between classes because of forced labor. With the new resources of steam and coal, there was advancement in transportation with the cross-continental railroad, quicker trains, and ships. This allowed trade and travel by sea. This formed more international trade between different countries and forced them to communicate with one another, bring them closer together and tighter, making the world smaller. Communication was refined with the telegraph, allowing people to spread out, and the improvements in transportation allowed easier access to neighboring areas. This brought the world together because it allowed easier communication with these new inventions. As countries began developing, there was a strong sense of pride for their country, nationalism. There was both liberal nationalism, which supported freedom and common government. Also, romantic nationalism supported common language, culture, and religion. This formation of common qualities made the world develop common ideas and goals to begin to level out the world and make it equal. This was the beginning of an inevitable globalized world. This sense of pride grew throughout, especially with the Jews. As Jews began to suffer harsh anti-Semitism, they began to feel the need to assimilate with the Europeans until they realized differently. They too wanted a land and language they could connect to in a Jewish state. Theodor Herzl explained the plan as satisfying the rightful requirements of a nation and connecting to a nation, because a new state is neither ridiculous nor impossible. This want for greater pride throughout the globe was a common concept that gave the world a common mind and brought them together. Common togetherness and beliefs brought the people closer together. This was a turning point in Globalization 2.0 as it began to decrease the world in size. As countries began developing, there was a strong sense of pride for their country, known as nationalism. This idea of social Darwinism gave these powers who had great pride the feeling they could imperialize the third world countries. Social Darwinism was extreme nationalism, where the white race believed they were superior to the black race because of science. Kwame Nkrumah explains in his speech for freedom that the white man arrogated himself to the right to rule and to be obeyed by the non-white. His mission, he claimed, was to civilize Africa. They formed a racial order and gave themselves the power to control the lesser races on the hierarchy. This direct rule over African nations made them begin to assimilate the European culture. The assimilation enhanced Africa's industry, trade, and advancements. This made the world begin to come together, all with equal developments and changes, to make the world globalized and small. The lasting effects included greater trade, money to develop railroads, more land, and trade of ideas and culture. There was now common power, control, and beliefs throughout the globe, leveling the people and making them equal each other with advances as a country. The pride in nationalism and imperialism grew, forming rising tensions through competition and militarism to create tangled alliances and ultimately this inevitable war. Militarism gave the idea that a strong military was needed to protect their country, so fierce competition began. This military used the newly industrialized materials, including submarines, trenches, ships, and weapons. Secret treaties were signed, and as two countries went into war, the support from their alliances became entangled. Militarism was so strong that after war, to reduce tension, Wilson